In 2020, Microsoft made a promise. By 2030, carbon negative. By 2050, erase every carbon emission they'd ever made since their founding in 1975. Last week, Microsoft quietly started walking it back. And if the company that wrote the book on corporate climate commitments is already retreating, what does that tell you about every net zero plan on the planet right now? Welcome to the Climate Ledger, where we track the intersection of climate, technology, and the future economy. Today, we're covering something that changes how you should think about every ESG investment you currently hold or plan to make. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll see an opportunity that most investors won't recognize for another 2 years. Let's go back to where this started. The Paris Agreement, 2015, 196 countries. One goal: limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius, net zero emissions by 2050. Then something remarkable happened. Corporations didn't wait for governments. They started making their own pledges. Microsoft, 2020, carbon negative by 2030. Google, 2020, carbon-free energy, 24 hours a day by 2030. Amazon, net zero across all operations by 2040. These were not PR moves. These were legal commitments, with boards, with budgets, with sustainability officers, and the investment world responded. Sustainability assets under management crossed $40 trillion globally. 40 trillion. Investors put real money behind the belief that big tech was leading the clean energy transition. That was the deal. That was the promise. And then something arrived that nobody planned for. ChatGPT launched in November 2022. 100 million users in 2 months. The fastest growing consumer application in history. And here's what nobody told you about that moment. Every single query you typed consumed 10 times the electricity of a regular Google search. 10 times. Multiply that by 100 million users, then 500 million. Then the entire global economy running on AI-powered tools, agents, and infrastructure. The International Energy Agency now projects that global data center electricity consumption will double from 485 terawatt hours in 2025 to 950 terawatt hours by 2030. To put that in perspective, by next year, data centers worldwide will consume as much electricity as Japan. The entire country of Japan, just for servers, and Japan is not a small country. Japan has 125 million people and one of the largest industrial economies on Earth. So, no big deal. The 5 largest tech companies spent over $400 billion on data center infrastructure in 2025 alone. That number is expected to jump another 75% in 2026. This is the most capital-intensive build-out in the history of technology. And it needs power. Massive, uninterrupted, around-the-clock power, which brings us to the collision. Here is the direct collision. Google pledged carbon-free energy by 2030, but Google's own emissions report showed their greenhouse gas emissions increased significantly in recent years because of AI data center expansion. Microsoft pledged carbon negative by 2030. Last week, they started walking it back, considering scaling down their commitment to match electricity with carbon-free power around the clock. These are not small companies with small pledges. These are the 2 corporations that wrote the playbook for corporate climate action. And AI is breaking their plans. Here's what makes this a collision and not just a setback. The clean energy transition takes time. Wind farms take years to permit and build. Solar infrastructure takes years to scale. Nuclear, which tech companies are now scrambling toward, takes a decade. But AI data centers, they're being built in months. The demand is outrunning the clean supply, and in that gap, utilities are quietly turning fossil fuels back on. In the state of Virginia right now, 26% of all electricity consumed goes directly to data centers. In Ireland, 21% of the entire nation's power grid, rising to 32% by next year. This isn't a future problem. This is happening on your grid right now, this month. Now, and we have to be honest here, AI is not purely a climate villain. The same technology consuming all this energy is also being used to optimize power grids, accelerate clean energy research, and find efficiencies in industrial emissions that humans alone could never calculate. Some researchers argue AI could cut global emissions faster than it creates them, if deployed correctly. That's a real argument, and it deserves respect. But here's the problem with that argument in 2026 specifically. The carbon debt is being created right now. The emissions benefits are projected for later, and later is the most expensive word in climate science. So where does this leave investors who care about both returns and the planet? The collision between AI demand and net zero commitments creates three specific dislocations worth paying close attention to. First, nuclear energy is being repriced. Tech companies are signing nuclear power purchase agreements at a pace never seen before. The market hasn't fully priced in what consistent carbon-free baseload power is worth to a company spending $400 billion on data centers yet. Second, grid infrastructure is the actual bottleneck. You cannot run an AI-powered economy on a grid built in the 1970s. Transmission infrastructure, smart grid technology, and advanced substations. This is where capital is being forced to flow, whether anyone planned for it or not. Third, carbon accounting is being rewritten. New rules around how companies report AI-related emissions are forming right now. The companies that get ahead of this, that build clean AI infrastructure from day one, will have a structural advantage that compounds for decades. The net zero plan isn't dead, but it's being stress tested by the most powerful technological force in human history. And stress tests always reveal where the real value is hiding. Next week, I'm breaking down the nuclear power purchase agreements big tech is quietly signing right now, and which energy companies are positioned to capture that demand before the market catches up. Subscribe so you don't miss it. That's the whole ask.